The Supergiant Show, Episode 2, with Pat McCurran. And enjoy. Thanks again. Now we're recording. Oh yeah.
Chickadee, check.
Hey, look at this Supergiant Show. This is episode 2. And our first guest. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Corey.
Please state your name and how we know one another.
Well, I'm Pat McCurran, and you're Corey Smale.
That's correct.
And a lot of people don't know that we've known each other for a long time.
I was thinking on the way here, 17 years.
Is it 17?
Yeah.
They all fly by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But no, on a regular basis, I feel like you're sort of my cornerstone for what's happening in the young up and coming world, and I try to be your cornerstone in what's happening in the adult world.
That's where I would say that's a great characterization, and I think that's working out well for both of us.
Yeah. No. When I met you, you were maybe in 8th grade or 9th grade. I was in like 11th or 12th grade, something like that.
I think I was in high school. I was definitely in high school.
I feel like I feel you were 14 and I was like 18 or 19.
That could be true.
Yeah.
But then we became like friends and started playing in a band when I was, I think, a senior.
You were like 18 or 19, and I was
you
like
were in
22, 21, 22.
Or maybe you just graduated.
Yeah, I think so.
And you were living on First Capitol Drive.
Yeah, I lived in that house 1 year when I was finishing up. So from like 2001 to 2003 is when I lived there.
I thought, let's talk about that house. That was at 1027.
1027.
And that's a place very near and dear to you.
Yeah. So it was my granddad's office, and then it turned into being his house. And so like we'd go and watch the 4th of July parade. They'd throw Tootsie Rolls up on the porch. I mean, like, it's just, it's home,
And what kind of office did he have out of there?
Yeah, he was in the laundry equipment business. And so he had one circuit of, they'd have like laundry equipment, like in colleges, you go do your laundry, and then he had another circuit where like he would sell the equipment to somebody who wanted to start a business and have a laundromat. So he just had all kinds of like business stuff going on through there.
And that was his main thing?
Yeah, for a long time. It's actually a crazy story. When he was in his 30s, he was a salesman for washing machines and Maytag, Motorola, like, companies that have been around forever. And he went on a trip to Las Vegas for like a training market. Mm-hmm. And at the bar after the market, there is a fishbowl of silver dollars on the bar. And if you can guess how many silver dollars are in this bowl, you win a Cadillac. So Vegas Tom McCurran sits down and does the math on how big that fishbowl is, how big a silver dollar is, and wins himself a Cadillac. And so that's how he went from being a blue-collar salesperson. So you go back to Edina, Missouri, and you cannot drive a Cadillac and sell people Maytag. So he sells the car, uses the money to buy the Maytag distributorship. That put my whole family in business back in 1952.
That's crazy, man.
It is.
Stories like that are fewer and far between, I think, in this day and age, probably.
I think that's definitely true, but maybe because you can't see the forest for all the trees, like there's always a story every day that you can't hear every story. You can't absorb all the content that's out there.
Very well said. And so he came back, and that was like kind of the beginning. Then he started his own. That propelled him to go from working for someone else to working for himself.
Yeah, so he was like living in the country at Edina, Missouri is off the regular map.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
And so they used that money to buy that Maytag distributorship, bought himself a house in St. Charles. Like that's how we ended up in St. Charles in the first place.
Wow. And that's your dad's dad?
Yeah.
McCurran.
Yep.
And you grew up in the business you're in now.
Yeah, so Tom McCurran and his son, who's my dad, Gary, they got themselves into commercial real estate because they needed a warehouse for the laundry equipment.
Okay.
And they bought a part of a building and ended up owning a whole building. And in that building, there was a little sports bar and a karate studio and an exercise place and this little mattress store. And so after a couple of years of watching a mattress business sort of grow there, the guy who was running it had a little success and got himself an RV, and then
Yeah.
got himself a little more success and bought himself a boat. And then he wasn't working very hard anymore and ended up not being able to pay the rent. And so my dad ended up taking over the mattress business, for next to nothing.
Yeah.
That's when I was 6 years old. So I mean, I've been around it for a long time.
That's cool. I with your grandfather and then your dad and then your dad and then you, there's like this cross pollination. Like there's a little intersection, but then you go off and do your dad went and did his thing
Yeah.
with help with his grandpa, with your grandpa, and then you're very much doing your own thing with this mattress thing, obviously, but it was a little bit with your dad too.
Yeah, and it's also just different layers of the same cake. Because like my dad really never wanted to be in the mattress business per
Yeah.
se, but at one point he envisioned owning this whole building and owning 2 or 3 businesses all in the same building and like having everything kind of be in one base. And he didn't know a whole lot about the mattress business and set about it to learn a whole new career really. But at one point I told him I'd love to have more than one mattress store, and he didn't have any interest in doing that. And so here we are today.
And well, I'll go into that now. So when I got to know you, it was in this building, although it looks a lot different because you've just renovated this. But it was your family running a mattress store, and you were young, and you were running the mattress store. You're helping them, and Rube was here, and the crew was here, and I remember, and that was going well. I think
Yeah.
you were having fun with that, and you had this vision for kind of like taking that business and going really big with it. Like you're saying, you said you saw multiple stores. What was like the plan in your head beyond beyond just where we're at today? And how did that, it seemed like that, I know it's been probably 10 years in the making,
Yeah.
but a lot of stuff happened really quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of organization and planning involved in it. But, when you and I were first hanging out, I had this killer job. I had been selling mattresses and doing graphic design, and I got to like make videos, and I got to design whatever I wanted and make price tags.
Yeah.
I installed the first computer system they'd ever had. Everything was on paper when I grew up.
Yeah.
And so lots and lots of different cool little projects sewed up to like this really great project that would also like let me, be gone for a couple days and we'd go play music.
Yeah, yeah.
And so one of the first things that happened where I really thought it was a good idea was when I got into trying to buy media for one store in the northwest corner of a market. So you can't go buy television, you can't go buy radio because 75% of the listenership is not near you.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking, okay, if I had one in St. Charles and one in West County and then one in South County and then maybe one in Illinois, then all of a sudden then I could buy a little bit of television on, Channel 2 or Channel 5 and be able to reach more people, and that would be more effective than trying to buy a real dialed in, just zone thing. I was limited in what I could do. And so you start looking at that and you think there's a lot of big companies that are not run really well in the mattress business. And so being a little guy and being able to be kind of spry and like figure out this is a better way of doing it. Let's make it really easy for people to make a good choice, and then we don't have to twist arms, and everybody's going to be really happy with that.
Yeah.
And then going about doing that was something we just marinated on for a long time. 2 or 3 years worth of planning to, okay, it's time to do it. And then all of a sudden it was 2 stores in 2011 and 2 stores in 2012 and 3 stores in 2013. Then the delivery company and the distribution center, then 3 more stores, then 3 more stores, and then the factory. And so the whole thing just keeps on building.
And it's almost like you're in the mattress business, but the way you're even talking about it, it's like I almost think you're almost more in the media business.
Yeah. A mattress is not the most exciting thing that somebody might go buy. Everybody's got one, but the one you have and the one I have are not the same one, and the one that I'm happiest with is not the one you'd be happiest with. Helping people figure out how to do that is something you don't want them to have to spend a lot of time on. You don't want to have to think real hard about how to find the right mattress. So trying to make it easy for people to get what they need is the message.
Yeah.
So like if I can get you the same product you'd buy elsewhere for less, let's just focus on which one's going to help you better. Like that's the whole point. But it's absolutely an awareness game
Yeah.
because like you can buy a mattress anywhere. You can
Sure.
buy like gas stations, department stores, warehouse clubs. None of them are going to be definitively perfect for you. I mean, like the one size fits all mattress is a myth. Like, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you buy $1,000 mattress in a box and have it delivered to your house. There's nothing wrong with it except for I sell the same thing for $500.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What is the, maybe I think you might have just answered it there, like almost like solving problems, but like what are you most passionate about, like this whole thing?
at this stage in the game, we've got a company that helps people find the right mattress. We have a company that builds the best mattresses. We have a company that provides the service of delivering and installing the mattresses. So like what I'm passionate about is the harmony in those three things and getting all of those gears to fit in tooth to tooth and do exactly what you want them to do for each other.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than, you got one kid who's the mattress delivery guys and one kid who's the mattress manufacturing guys and one kid who's the mattress sales guys, and you want all your kids to
How did
get
you
along.
see that though? Like when did you see that those would be those three pieces, or did you just add pieces and then start, like, you know what I mean? Like did you see this whole thing at one time, or did you slowly just start to add on pieces that you could see?
The honest answer is both, but I've like always thought in possible increments.
Okay.
And so like we know we want to open 3 or 4 stores, and you do the math. It's like, well, we could do better if we could open 6. Where would those fit? Can we do 6? And so you can kind of see that we stretch out a little bit more, go to Washington for store 5, which is a little bit off the radar.
Yeah.
But you get to that point, and it's like, okay, what would make us a better company? And well, instead of outsourcing a delivery company in order to do the deliveries, like let's get the very best deliver crew possible. Let's make them our company guys and make sure they do a good job. And so you get those pieces working, and it's like, okay, so today, you and I have been talking about this earlier about if you can buy mattress X 10 different places in town, and then you can buy an infinite rainbow of different marketing company mattresses online. Like what's really different about a mattress? So adding the Campbell Mattress Factory was kind of a blessing in disguise. It sort of popped out of nowhere because the guy, we're the third owner. And the second guy who'd had it for 40 years, after the first guy who'd had it for 40 years, the second guy passed away, and his kids didn't really know what to do with it. But here we are having an 85-year-old legacy company with customers out there that want to buy that quality product. And we're building mattresses that way. That fit right into our dynamic of like what we want to do is have something that they don't have everywhere else. We want to be able to build a better mattress than you can buy, off the department store shelf.
Okay, enough about mattresses. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think the most important, like the thing that's fascinating me about you, and that I am always like, I'm like, Pat, what should I do? What should I do now? Or what's next? Is because I feel like the way you're talking about the mattresses is the way you talk about your life.
Yeah.
Like you're very, very pragmatic about
Yeah.
things. And I've always admired that. Like because we were talking the other day, and it was so accurate what you said about me. You were like, Corey, you're really good at going up the mountain, not knowing what's on top, and not knowing how to get back down.
Yeah, man, you will go up that mountain without knowing what's up there, without knowing how you're going to get back down.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of anything. It's like one of the things that I do for myself is like I think about myself at a certain age. Your kids will be this age.
Yeah.
What will be your problems at that point? Think about yourself like when I don't have this bill or I don't have this problem or I'm going to do this. What will I want to do? And so I'm always trying to build myself branches off of that trunk so that when I get to this age and my kids are this age, what will I want to be doing? And I'll be able to make that choice at the time and not be in a panic mode about doing it,
Yeah. You mentioned your kids. It's like, has that really affected the way you've thought about business and just all this in general?
Super interesting question. Yes. I grew up watching my dad and my granddad both work, and so it's important to me that like they see what it's like to hustle.
Sure.
You got to work hard at things, but I also am to the point now where I don't know what to hustle on every day. I've always got too many projects, but nothing specific that's next.
Yeah.
So yeah, you think about you want to take care of your kids. You want to make sure that they have what they need. You want to make sure you can buy soccer cleats and send them to college and do all those things for them. But it's really like showing the kids the way you live your life so that they know that and like they can make their own choices, but like setting an example for like what I think is my right way.
If you weren't doing this, what would you think you would be doing?
That's a really hard one,
Yeah.
man. My favorite part about my job has always been I get to do different stuff every
Right.
day. And so if I had to pick one of those things to do every day, I think I'd get burnt out sooner rather than later. And so like today, like in the gig economy where like I would do something for a while and I would do something else for a while and I'd just be like another guy doing whether it's marketing or writing or working or I mean, one of my favorite jobs in my world now is the day I get to drive a delivery truck. You just roll the window down and it's like sunshine and daydreams, man.
That's funny. It's cool that you can like, yeah, have a business that allows you to be so macro and micro at the same time. I think that's pretty cool. Sandy was here. Sandy's one of your sales people.
Yeah, Sandy's great.
And
Sandy was here with Sandy's mom.
Yeah, Sandy's mom was here, and that was cool. And I don't know, man. You just have it's not. I don't ever feel like you're selling people things. I feel like you're listening a lot,
Yeah.
and you kind of like, and that's something I want to like get a little bit better at. And I kind of want to like understand like what are like some of your like not like tactics. That's not the right word because I
Yeah.
don't feel like you're doing like. I don't think it's like there's intention some of the time. I think sometimes it's just honest curiosity in the way that you are asking some of the questions that you're asking. But like, I feel like you very much are very good at knowing the topic and then like letting the person kind of guide through
Yeah.
the subtopics and then bringing it back. But I don't know. I just
The part,
listening.
Yeah, the part you're talking about is it's judo, not ninjutsu. It's like you really want to let people make their own decisions and you want to let people come to their own conclusions. But I mean, like the overarching thing is just like old-fashioned manners, like just being nice to people and like asking them how they're doing, asking what they think, telling them what they want to hear so that they feel comfortable, and then just being a likable person. You know,
Yeah.
if you're a good human being, it's like easy for people to like you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like that translates to your staff, I assume.
Yeah.
Those values.
It is exactly what we instill in people is like people come in to buy a mattress. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they need.
Yeah.
And so it's our job to, as simply as possible, give them 2 or 3 things to think about. This is how you make that decision. I try to give good examples, but like, I wanted to buy a television back in the day, and I had no idea what I was doing. So you stand there at the electronics store, and there's like 50 TVs. And like, what do? You go stand in front of the one that looks the right size. Like that's the best you can do because you don't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
And so this kid comes over to me and says, "May I help you?" And so I mean, a total typical customer. I was like, no, thank you. I'm just looking. And so he says, "Okay, cool. If you're gonna put it downstairs and there's no windows, the plasma TVs are gonna have better, richer blacks. But if it's going to be in the living room and there's going to be ambient light, then an LCD might be better. But the LED TV is the best of both worlds." And then he walked away. But then I knew how to buy one. It took it from being a sea of things to like, oh, I know where I'm going to put the TV.
Yeah.
This is the kind of TV that I need to buy. And then I knew how to go about buying one.
And you sold yourself the TV, but he just
Exactly.
gave you the knowledge for you to almost sell it to yourself.
At Mattress Direct, I call it I want to give you the kindergarten caliber education so you can make your decision about which one is going to work the best for you. And then once we kind of get you on the right path, if you have deeper questions, like we'll make sure to answer those too. But people don't want to learn everything there is to learn about mattresses. Like the nuts and bolts of like what kind of thread goes into what is not
Yeah.
interesting to
Yeah.
the people who are going to end up using it. So we want to make sure that the usability is there. You know what position you get to sleep in. So I can tell you these are the ones that are designed for you who sleep on your side. This is what you should be thinking about.
What is? I know we've talked about it, but I imagine like some people listening are probably like, yeah, but what about all these like internet bed box? Like what's going on? Like I feel like it's like social media bedding companies.
It is super weird because they will market them. Like they'll tell me like, we're really a marketing company. We're not even a
Yeah.
mattress company. And so, one came to me and says, we spent $300 million on this campaign. And like, look at all the hits we got on our website in your town. And this is how many we sold.
That's not very many.
It's
for the
not
people
very
listening.
many. We got the video over here.
Okay, yeah.
We only sold this many. And so what if you put this mattress in your store?
Yeah.
And then all these people who wanted to try it, they were interested in it, but they couldn't try it online. They could come to you. It's super interesting because the convenience factor, I understand. the way that they simplify it for people is don't worry about getting a pair of shoes that fits. These flip-flops are one size fits all. We're just going to send them out to you. And if you don't like them, don't worry about it. We'll get you something different. Send them back. And so, like, flip-flops are fine, but I'm not going to run a marathon in them. And, like, if you sleep 6 hours a night, it's like a quarter of your life. So, like, buy one for the kids, just have it delivered. Like, that's no big deal. But, like, if you really want to sleep your best, like, you don't buy a one-size-fits-all anything, you know?
Where are all the beds going that, you know, they all offer like a trial period?
Oh, you don't even want to know.
You're sleeping on those beds.
You don't even want to know.
Okay, all right, okay. I don't really have a format for this show because this is the second episode and the first episode is just me talking for 20 minutes. But I do want to like this is I kind of said on the first episode, this is like the only thing I'm doing right now, like work wise, is just like meeting with my friends and asking them questions. What do you think I should do next?
Well, I think it'd be super interesting if people could ask you questions. So either have an email form or like something more modern. Maybe they could DM you if they had a good question. We could answer questions. That'd be pretty neat.
I like that.
I think most people want to know what we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
So
I want to know myself.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like whatever you do, don't get into like crank phone calls or anything like that. That's bad business.
No phone calls. Probably no restaurants.
Yeah.
Probably no food. I don't know. I love marketing, but I was talking to my wife about this last night. Like, but the idea of just doing marketing, like, I don't have I don't know. There's something like I want a tangible thing.
Yeah.
There's security in that. Like, marketing's like, you know what I mean?
The service business instead of like the practical, like objective product business. I don't know, and like over the years, like you go from trying to sell a practical product that you somewhat believe in and making that really great to trying to find a product that you really believe in and try to like get that message across. Trying to get passionate about things for hire, I think, is difficult.
Tricky.
You know?
Yeah. And like I've had a bunch of people like really quickly be like, "Hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not like I'm flattered that they would ask me. That's very cool. But I'm also like, I gotta be honest with myself. It's like, one thing I always thought was very true is that when I did Strange, when I left that, a lot of people I feel like thought I could do that for them.
Right.
And I was like, that'll never work because it's just like I really love doing that. And that's like another question I have is like, what I'm realizing a lot of my mentors is that you have to love what you do at the end of the day, because there's gonna be some times where you're gonna compromise so many things in order to do it, and you're gonna do just like, I don't know, like you set up the like the Wi-Fi router, like you just have to do those things sometimes, and like at the end, I guess what the question is, at the end of the day, how do you what is it that you love doing? And like, what is it that's like propelling you to be able to like set up the router or film the video, or like we said earlier, you're like the CMO, the CEO, and the CFO of this company at times.
Yeah, CEO is Chief Everything Officer.
Oh, I like that. But like, what is it? Like, what is your main thing that's like, yeah, but Pat just loves doing that, and that's why he'll do all these things, Like,
yeah. I don't know if I have that one thing, because I think my thing is being good at everything. Like, I want to juggle.
Yeah.
Like, I love being the creative guy and the practical guy and sitting down doing this today. I'm going to go work with the delivery guys tomorrow. I'm going to go do this the next day. Because it doesn't ever get boring. Like, never, ever get stale.
That's so rare, though.
I think, to your point, you can't get passionate about something for hire and then let it go and then do it again and go. So you really have to be objective about what it is that you're doing in that line of work. And so what I'm particularly passionate about is building things and having them all work together. Like talk about getting the gears of the teeth all to mesh together and move the body forward. So I've always put all my blocks into one pyramid, but they're all separate, pillars that hold it up. So like there's real estate, there's delivery, there's sales, there's all these different parts, but they all are kind of pushing the same direction. And like we talked about, I'm building options to be able to do whatever you want to do in the future. And so that's the security blanket is really what is my passion, I suppose, is being able to be good at any one of those things. I can go plug in for any single one of my employees tomorrow if I need to.
Yeah.
Like there's pride in that, man.
Yeah.
You know, being able to, you know, work the line or the front of the house or the back of the house.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's something I assume, like when was the last time you sold a mattress?
I sold a mattress last week.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And like that's like I assume very important to you is to like go in and show them like I'll do all this too.
Yeah, I definitely like to show my staff how I do things.
Yeah.
But one of the super interesting things that happens to me is, you know, a friend of a friend of a friend will like reach out to me on social media or email me and want to have me come help them. And like I don't really do that every day. I have people who do that every day who
Sure.
are much better at it than I am at this point. And so like trying to connect them up with somebody so that they make sure they feel like they get that same level of service. So
Do you get a lot of texts from people from like college or high school that are like, hey, I need a bed?
yeah, heck yeah.
Yes.
Even more than that, it's like, what store are you at these days? Because my mom is thinking about getting something
yeah.
and she wants to get it from you. And I was like, you know what? I can't be everywhere, but when I can, I can. So
What a crazy business.
it is kind of a funny business.
But everybody needs a bed.
Everybody needs a bed. It's not complicated unless you let it get complicated. And there are a lot of like big sloppy companies like making it more complicated on purpose. So like being local and focused on helping people in the service end of it makes it easier for people.
Who are your mentors?
Well, when my dad got into the mattress business, I was first introduced to Mr. Rube Colton. So
Legend.
the man learned to sell mattresses before he left to go to World War II, and then came back and sold mattresses, started a business selling mattresses, and it really isn't his. He'd already retired and come back to work for my dad for another 15, 20 years. But I learned a lot about helping people and about broader business stuff from him. My dad was always super sharp, and his dad was super sharp in a slightly different way. And so I pulled from all of those guys for sure. And then it doesn't get as much credit, but you know, on my mom's side of the family, like they were just good, old-fashioned like farm people and like hard work every day. And so you learn just as much about how to work hard and like put your head down and do what you got to do from them. So.
What about these last few years, though? I mean, that's like a lot of the growth that you've done or that this business has experienced has been like self-propelled.
Yeah.
So who are you asking when you're doing stuff? Or are you just trying all this out? You know what I mean? Like, who are you going to now?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess you.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I definitely have a very small network of peers. 'Cause I mean, it's kind of a niche industry. But like, I mean, I know guys
Yeah.
who are in real estate that make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
A couple of guys that are in like commercial vehicles that like have similar business
Yeah.
ideas that make a lot of sense. But like the world is changing, and the mattress business in and of itself. When you start thinking about all the product that we can make here in our factory as opposed to have it shipped in from overseas, like we're trying to be the leading edge of that change, at least in our particular corner of the district. So
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like local is a thing you don't think about when you think of mattresses.
Right.
You think about food or
yeah,
textiles maybe or clothing, but like mattresses, that's interesting, you know? Most people aren't. I don't think they're not looking for a local mattress. They may just not know that there's a local mattress.
Absolutely.
I think they probably just assume that that's
well, if you think about like the two edges of the mattress business have been we have big brands that are available nationwide or worldwide, and then we have these Instagram pop-up marketing companies that are making mattresses. But there's a huge opportunity in between there for things that are built and sourced locally. And like you didn't think about that in clothes 10 years ago or in food 20 years ago. And like
Yeah.
as those things continue to progress, I mean, you can buy a brand name mattress just about anywhere. We do it for less than anybody, but we're real proud of the ones that we designed and built ourselves.
one thing I struggle with all my projects. I just throw myself at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, this matters more than everything else right now. Friends, family, whatever. It's about this, number one. And I've had success with that. I've had failure with that. You've had great success with this thing that I feel like you never let go in front of your family.
Yeah.
And I think that's admirable, and I wanted to understand that. How, like, what that, I mean, even today, like right now, it's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You have 18 stores or some shit, right? Like that are running right now. People are selling things. You could be going, just driving around all day, going to store, going to the delivery place. But you're like, oh, you can come hang out, and like you'll always make time, and you'll be like, hi, I gotta go home and like hang out with the wife and the kids, and like, has that always been like? Did you, before you had the family, were you just going at it like that, or is that something that's always been kind of ingrained in you? Is like, even though well, I guess, I mean, we played music, like that was your family then, you know what I mean? Like, did you always have that sense of balance?
I think that is one of the many things that I juggle.
Yeah.
And I could say yes and not be wrong, because ultimately it boils down to like you hire good people, and you have good processes, and you give them a downhill slope towards success, and you tell them to go out and do what they want to do. And that's a big part of my sales training is like, there is no script. There is no, you have to do it the Pat McCurran way at Mattress Tract. It's like, you help me understand how you see it, and I'm going to give you some information that's going to help us be on the same page. And you get to go out and be yourself when you talk to those people. And I feel like the same way, if you have good people and good processes and they're set up for success, you don't have to hover over them. But yeah, I mean, I've hustled in every single one of those jobs, and they've seen me hustle, and they know if I'm doing it on the hop. And so getting them to be happy in their job, like that's the number one thing, is having a company where everybody who works there wants to work there, and they're happy working there, and they're doing what they want to do, and like, you know, that just the culture of success, like having people go out there and like they're helping people every day. I'm not asking them to, like, if you had to go work at a retail store, I told you, like, you know, this is an $800 mattress, but you sell it to those people for $1,500, I'll give you a bonus. Like that's a bad place to be. Like, nobody wants to do that for a living.
Like Sandy, like I know Sandy because she, like, from when I was helping you 2 years ago, Sandy was around, and a lot of those people are around. Like, your retention rate is...
Yeah. We got a lot of... Anybody who has been involved in the mattress business over the past 20 years who is still in town and still wants to, they all work here. Like, if you're a mattress pro, you work at Mattress Direct. But then we also have a bunch of young kids who are super good, that are like up and coming and learning. Like, they've come from cell phone industry and selling bridal gowns and helping people with really stressful emotional things. And like, people can be kind of stressed out about, because if you're not getting a great night's sleep, like, you're not in your best mindset in the first place. And so you feel like everybody who comes in, it's like going grocery shopping hungry. Like, everything looks good when you're starving. So
I've always wondered about sales, if I would be good at sales. I don't know. Like, I always wonder, what is the skill set? What do you think it takes to be a good salesperson?
I might not be the best one to ask for that, because if you could completely disconnect from your humanity and like process people through a meat grinder, you'd probably be a good salesperson. But I don't really have good salespeople working at Mattress Direct. It's really like, we look for consultative tour guide, like the optometrist is going to ask you which one looks better to you. And so there's not really a whole lot of sales in helping people find the right mattress. But I've definitely met a lot of salespeople, and what I think they're good at is putting on a one-man show. You know,
like, it's not like the experience at the store isn't like slick.
Not at all. Yeah,
and that's like, I don't know. I think that's like one of the traits, and I think you've done a good job with like the media and just like the branding of just getting out there. You know, it's a comfortable experience, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, can you imagine, like, going to lay down? Like, you're going to use it in your pajamas, but you got to go talk to a guy in a shirt and tie in order to, like, get one. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a major disconnect there. Even more so than, like, schlepping it home yourself on a cart. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. So, like, having, like, a professional team bring it in and set it up, having a low-key experience to, like, get comfortable. So, like, it's not uncommon for people to come in, try 2 or 3 different models out for 10, 15, 20 minutes each, relax. You know, we got Wi-Fi in stores. People like relax and like pick something out, and then we kind of give them what they need to have in order to be able to make their own decisions. So like, you don't have to sell a lot of stuff when people are making their own decisions.
I feel like you could do whatever you want. You'd be pretty good at it. You built this thing that's so big. Do you feel like you can't do something else now? And not that you would feel bad about that, but like, you know what I mean?
I think more than anything, I really am a good teammate. And so I feel like I could go work at a company and be part of a team and be good at something. At this point, I'm fairly well conditioned to like being the shot caller on just about everything. Like, everybody calls me no matter what they need.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like letting that go and just working for somebody and clocking out, like taking your vacation and like not worrying about stuff. Like, there's some appeal to that.
Sure.
But I've become accustomed to working on just about everything all the time. Like, I'd be bored if I didn't have something to do. So
I know every day's different, but what's a day like?
So like I might stop in and visit in a showroom, answering emails, answering phone calls, planning forward. It kind of goes in chunks, but on a good week, I'll spend a little time behind the camera, and I'll spend a little time doing graphic design. Then we'll do a little time on the website. Spend a little time sales leading. We got a Slack account for the entire sales staff. So like I get to talk to all of them at once all the time. So I can broadcast from wherever, whenever I want, share whatever we want.
How important is that, like technology in the business you're in?
I think it's super handy for transmitting information to everyone and their quality of life, because really it keeps me from having morning meetings where the whole team has to meet up somewhere as opposed to going out to their remote location.
Yeah.
But we can distribute. I can shoot a video and teach them something without having to be in front of them.
Water break. This is cool.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about mattresses today, more than I knew. We got to work together a couple years ago. That was fun.
Yeah.
We brought Doggendorf in. We did sleep rules. Thought of that in the bath. I remember texting you.
That was a good one.
And then Doggendorf thought it has 2 meanings, and that was exciting to me. I thought that was a fun project.
I love that dude.
Yeah, he's a good one. Shout out to the Doggendorf. I don't know. I it's such an open-ended question, but like, what do you want to do next?
In a perfect world, one more thing that bolts on to everything else that I've been working on.
Yeah.
That I can be part of but not be fully responsible for. So like if it's expanding the delivery business, everybody gets their stuff delivered. More and more things, like you and I talked about, delivering all kinds of different stuff on a Deliver Pro truck. Any one of my remaining jobs, because that's really what it boils down to, is anything that we do repetitively is somebody else's job. But if I could build on my graphic design and photo and video editing, like we did that for more people, had people working for us working on it, then all of a sudden like take some of the manual execution out of my hands, like that'd be all right.
Yeah. I mean, for like I said in the beginning of the conversation, I almost think of it as a media company more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like what you've done, because I remember back in the day, it was suburban journals, you know what I mean? Like the very beginning, but you understood the fundamentals of like how to get the message out. And I wonder, and you've sold a lot of beds because of that. Yeah. But I wonder if that same skill set could not be lended to a bunch of other stuff.
I'm sure it could. You just have to understand things. Like I've always been envious, like when you're selling a delicious meal, you do a good job, you see them again next week. If I do my job really well, like you don't come back for 7, 8, 9, 10 years when you need a new mattress, right?
Yeah.
And so the repetitiveness of that has always been appealing to me. Like figuring out like what people's mindset are, and like the mattress mindset is pretty straightforward. They know they need something, but they don't know what they need, and they know they don't trust the guy at the last store who was wearing his dad's shirt and tie. It just doesn't really jive with them that's going to be an expert. They're going to be pointed in the right direction. So like I think anytime you can understand the market and how people feel about something, I feel like you can tell those kinds of stories.
You're talking about delivering. We were talking about earlier about like how like McDonald's delivers now.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that everything, and Payless closed and Toys R Us is closed, like is everything going to be delivered?
That is definitely a growth industry. And so you can see that I mentioned the commercial trucking guys earlier. They're selling lots and lots of trucks. There's lots of subcontractors picking up routes. And so you figure whether you buy your furniture in a brick and mortar store or you buy it on Wayfair, like it's going to come on a truck, and it probably comes on the same truck either way. But no, I mean, I think there's definitely like a growth thing where convenience is number one. You got to make it easy for people in order for them to purchase from you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the next edge is how just ubiquitous can you make making this purchase? Like if I could hook them up with something that bills on their recurring on a credit card like Netflix, like every single month, like they're just buying every month. You don't even have to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine everything will end up being more delivered than it is now.
I know all of this is fun, but what do you like to do for fun?
Man, on a good day, I like to watch movies. I like to play guitar. I like to take the Jeep out, get a little dirty. Yeah.
Simple things.
Yeah, man, playing with the kids. They like playing in the snow when it's snowy, and they like playing ball outside. So
That's cool, man. I don't know. I had one more question. You got to be getting recognized a lot, right?
yeah. So there's actually this thing where on a regular basis, I grow the beard out in between commercial shoots, and then I trim it off and film a couple months worth of commercials. Then I'll grow the beard back. But if I mismatch or I go to the grocery store in between, then like I absolutely, if I go to the grocery store without a beard, like I have 2 or 3 conversations between.
Really?
Absolutely. Where do I know you from? Hey,
I
I'm a
was
mattress
wondering
guy.
about that because like I remember like this like, strange. We were on a billboard.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. But like, dude, we weren't on TV. Like you're on
All the
TV
time.
like
Yeah.
5 times a week.
Right.
Do you? That's wild, dude. You're gonna be like what is it? The Carroll House people.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like that.
They're super nice people.
I know, but I just know them. Like if
Yeah.
I saw them, I'd be like, oh yeah, you're Carroll
Yeah.
House. You know,
Yeah.
just from like repetitive over the years. You know.
Yeah, this is a true story. I don't know Brooke Dubman real well, but I met him 20 years ago. My dad and I went to like some Serta show, and he was there. And we left, and my dad said to me, "So are you going to tell your mom that you met Brooke Dubman?" I was like, "No," but he's going to go home and tell his mom he met me. And how true it was too.
Dude.
Yeah,
That's wild. Well, you're always reachable, and I think that's one of the coolest things. Like we talked 2 days ago, and here I am. You know what I mean? And that's if you can keep that level of humility, which I don't think you're gonna have a problem with. The world is yours, man. I think it's like one of the most admirable things. I think sometimes when we get these projects, we can get so far removed from like society, our friends, our family, because we're just in like the matrix of the idea.
yeah, man. You go real deep into something, and that's one of the benefits of juggling things. Kind of like pull you back out of like being that into one part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen you get real deep in the quicksand. So
Oh, I get obsessed, dude. I'm obsessed with this podcast already. My wife's like, "Stop! Like that's all you talk about already." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's going really good. I'm gonna I got a sponsor. I'm gonna do some more episodes." And I'm just like, this is slowly becoming the next thing. But I'm gonna temper it. I'm gonna not let it be that. But man, I just realized like that's the word I would say about you. Not just with business and life, but also within your own business is just balance.
Yeah.
I think that's where you're an expert at.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think about mattresses with you. I just think your ability to just balance a bunch of shit, be it your personal, be it your professional, and that skill set alone is, man, I don't know. If more people can figure that out, you can get a lot more done.
yeah, that's definitely the case. I was at the ball game with my dad, and he says, there's some other people there asking me about mattresses. They recognize me. He's like, "Do you ever get tired of talking about mattresses?" I was like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do."
Yeah, I imagine, because I imagine that mattresses is such a thing where it's, well, I guess it's like the donuts. I remember people like, "What's the craziest donut?" You know what I mean? Like, there's only like 3 questions you really get.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like,
What's a good one?
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Well, I want to say thanks for sitting down and making some time.
It's always a pleasure, man.
We'll keep hanging out off the podcast. But if you need a bed, which you probably do, I think a lot of people are listening to this are probably sleeping on an old bed, or maybe they got some bed in a box that didn't really work out, or they're looking at IKEA. Just go. There's a guy in your neighborhood that's from your neighborhood that's selling a bed at a Mattress Direct. They're everywhere if you're listening in St. Louis or even around St. Louis. So just go there. They're really nice people, and they're a bunch of, I mean, they're a lot like, there's 19 people like you out there that are just kind of like balancing, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say they'll sell you a bed. They'll solve a problem.
Yeah, man. They try to make it as easy as possible. They will not talk you into anything. So if you explain, I feel fine, but like sometimes I'm groggy and my back hurts. It's like, oh, well, if you sleep on your side, then let's look at your pillow. Like maybe this will help you.
This wasn't a paid advertisement, by the way.
No, man, I ain't got no money.
Okay, Mattress Direct, Pat McCurran, episode 2 of the Supergiant Show. I'm very happy with this. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody. We'll be back with another one. I don't know when, but just stay tuned. Thank you for listening again. Bye.